Right, so to give you guys an explanation of where we're going next, Sarah has asked us to meet in a place called Geofort, a town not too far from Neotropolis. In order to get there, we're going to have to go through a small section of the Forest of Dunkel, which we've already done, and now we're going to start climbing uphill. Route 7 is a bit more rugged from what you're used to so far, but the town isn't too far away from this point. If you ever want to take a break and do a bit of team building, here are the new Pokemon you can find around these parts, and here are the old ones. This is also where you can encounter Charmander's evolutionary line for the first time, to complete your Kanto collection. There are no new encounters I can reveal at this point, however I will be revealing a handful of new Pokemon once we reach the next town. You'll see why in a moment. I know I said that I wouldn't be focusing on any of the towns or cities in this arc, but visiting this one is essential to what we're doing, so I'll make an exception. Geofort is one of the oldest towns in the region, and the home base of Professor Nicholas's operations, as well as his company. The entire town is surrounded by a giant stone wall, complete with scrambled alleyways that can make traversing it a nightmare. However, you can find a few goodies if you choose to do so. Some of its other landmarks are the giant stone fortress slap bam in the center of the town, which, by the way, is where we're supposed to go, as well as a giant shopping mall, which is... Hey, you! Yes, you! Are you tired of your life being a challenge? Are you tired of searching around for pointless items to evolve all of your Pokemon? Do you want your journey to be easy? Well, we got just the place for you! Introducing Geo Hall, one of the biggest shopping malls in the whole region. Get any Pokemon related item you want. No need for any sort of exploration, no challenge, no fuss, no ifs or no buts. Collect any item, from rare candies to evolution stones, anytime. Your only limitation is you. Also, if you get a monthly membership card, you get half price on all of our available items. So what are you waiting for? Don't be a boring, slow Generation 1er. Come now! I really need to get an ag blocker. Yeah. That was the mall I was on about. Actually, while we're on the subject, maybe going to that mall and stocking up on rare items would be a good idea. After all, maybe we can get some new evolutionary items to evolve some of the Pokemon in our party. So, what are we waiting for? Let's get some upgrades, shall we? If you manage to find a special item called a Necro Filter and give it to your Revolution Coughing, you'll be able to evolve it into... Wait, hold on. God damn it, sorry, I just realized I spelt wheezing wrong. Give me a second. Alright, there we go. I fixed it! Wait. Wheezing is... It's literally just the same word, only without the H? Huh. It's amazing what you don't notice about a franchise you've known for many years now. All the same, that's pretty dumb. Anyway, Revolution Weezing is the clear gas Pokemon. The talk of the town is that this Weezing used to look like its Galarian counterpart. However, again, due to the lack of pollution, the Pokemon has become physically unsustainable. It's been known to shrivel like a raisin, corrode, and even fall apart without warning. Switching to cleaner energy sources may be good for our planet, and I'm not saying it's wrong, but it looks like most pollution-loving Pokemon won't stand the test of time because of it. If you manage to get your hands on an item called a flat screen, you'll be able to evolve your Revolution Yamask into Teleregus, the Vision Pokemon. Its time staring off into the unknown has driven the spirit mad, which is what is said to happen if you look into the screen on its head for too long. Once you start staring at its face, you will be driven into an eternal loop, of which you will never awake from. handful of veterans have the ability to evolve as well. If you find a special item called a cookbook, you'll be able to evolve your Alcremie into Alcremation, the cake Pokemon. This amalgamation of all the previous Alcremie forms has gained the ability to transmutate cream and other bakery substances out of thin air, the power and flavor of which is only determined by the one who evolves this Pokemon from Alcremie. Many have tried to do this through most of their lives, but without the perfect cookbook, only the greatest of trainers and the most talented of chefs can create this Pokemon from Alcremie naturally. If you ever want to attempt this yourself, just stay far away from this co-chef. Anywho, I think we've wasted enough time here. Let's go and find Sarah and see what she wants. Now, ladies and gentlemen, please relax. I assure you, this is completely natural. Natural? My Alcemon is useless! Mine could hardly stand, let alone put up a fight. You call these things the future? We want our money back! Trainers, please. I assure you, all of these kinks are nothing more than teething troubles. You're gonna be the one with a toothache in the moment. Once we have sorted them all out, then these Pokemon will truly be able to show off their full potential. I assure you, anything you say can be 100% justified. Oh, so if we throw you off a cliff, then we can justify that? As a matter of fact, yes, you can. But you youngins and your jokes aside, I assure you, in my 55 years of studying these creatures, they will become the future of Pokemon battling. It's only a matter of time, really. All the faults that your Alcemon have will be worked out in time. But unfortunately, you will not be able to replace or throw away the Alcemon you currently have. No refunds. Any attempts to do so will result in you being arrested, and your trainer license being revoked. And even then, if you still have problems with your Alcemon, well, that's your fault, not mine. You're all terrible trainers if that's the case. Oh, are you serious? All of your inventions suck! Now, ladies and gentlemen, relax. I'm only trying to make Pokemon training more convenient for you all. Ever since my inventions have been introduced to the world, all of the annoying stuff you've had to do has been cut down drastically. Well, that looks like it's getting heated. Let's try to sneak past the riot and just go inside and see if we can find Sarah. Ah, player. Glad you could make it past the riot that's happening outside. This is William, one of the region's local gym leaders. He's helped us and iPad out on a few occasions, and he'll be joining us for this assignment. Well, it's lovely to meet you, player. Actually, haven't I seen you somewhere before? A challenger, maybe? I don't know. Anyway, you two wanted to learn about these alchemist stones. Well, so did I. I started by scanning the stone, checking out what it's made of, its molecular structure, and, well, I couldn't find anything. It was almost unreadable. It was like the stone's molecular structure changed every time I read it. This thing has incredible mutanic properties. Makes this thing all the more of a mystery of how it creates eggs out of the essence of Pokemon. Although, the strangest thing about this alchemist stone is that I also found traces of DNA. And just like its structure, that seemed to change randomly as well. It was almost unreadable. Straight to the point. Just the way I like it. Although, I thought Professor Nicholas made a rule where the alchemist stone couldn't be researched by anyone who wasn't a part of his company. I have no excuse. I just couldn't help it. This was too fascinating for me. I guess it's a good thing that I did. Anyway, so I couldn't figure out what the heck this thing was made of or how it worked, so I decided to do some background history, see if anything like this came up before, and very, very, very long story short, after a bit of exploration and digging, I found something. I see. Can you tell us? Even better, I can show you. Plus, I think it'd be a bit too risky telling you this, since Nicholas is literally outside. Come on, I know a shortcut. We can sneak out back. Very well then. The sooner we get this crazy operation shut down, the better. Sheesh, wherever this kid's leading us is pretty far from town, isn't it? As we follow him, we enter Mount Geofort, a locale that's on the edge of one of the region's 3 main biomes, that being the mountain biome. More on that in another video. It's best to brace yourself for this place because this is where things get a bit more dangerous. Whether you're going over or under the mountain, it is littered with Pokemon that are strong enough to bite your head off. You'll also have to tend with steep hills, avalanche-prone routes, unstable cliff edges, and meteorites? Oh wait, no, that's not a meteorite. This is a Meteor, the obsidian Pokemon. Though it does look similar to Minior, and at some point it was considered a regional variant, this is actually a convergent Pokemon, similar to Diglett and Wiglet. And instead of having a hard shell made out of asteroids, this Pokemon shell is made out of obsidian. Nobody really knows what this Pokemon truly looks like on the inside, but those who have been able to theorize it can power a city. No one has truly been able to break it though, its shell reportedly being indestructible. Despite that though, this Pokemon is all defense and no power or speed, but it makes up for it with a unique ability called Collision Course. This power lets it boost its physical attack and speed at the end of every turn, making it more dangerous the longer it stays on the field. Other than them though, you can find Minior around here as well. Other old Pokemon you can find include these fellas, and here are all the newbies. So make sure you're prepared once William starts leading us over this mountain. Oh, wait, did I say over? Sorry, my bad. I meant under. Hey, hold on. Is this volcanic activity? Strange, this region isn't really known to be a volcanic one. Looks like this lava wasn't formed naturally either. Anyway, as you trundle around this place, you'll find that it's yet another maze which you'll have to navigate through. Some paths, however, that you'll need to traverse through have been flooded with lava, so you'll have to think tactically here and knock down some of these stalactites in order to form a path. Wouldn't stalactites just melt in the lava, you ask? Well, it's a video game series, don't question it. Where did you say this place was? Not far now, although we probably would have been there by now if it wasn't for this lava. Strange. It is most likely a Pokemon, but I'm not really sure what kind that's native around here would be able to do this. Well, so long as it's not an Alcamon and it doesn't show its face around us, it's not my problem. How do you even find the time to search for these places anyway? Oh, my pendant! Don't worry, I've got it, Hey, no peeking! That man. I recognize him. That was Mr. Rose, the former chairman of the Galar Pokemon League. Why was he in your pendant? That's private. What? Why? Well, if I told you, it wouldn't be private now, would it? Now, just forget it. We have a mission to accomplish. That goes for you too, player. I'm not in the mood to deal with this at the moment. Wait, what is that? It sounds like thunder. From underground? No, that's... Brace yourselves, we've got company! Well, looks like it's my problem after all. Introducing Project Superior, Magmados, a Gyarados fused with Macargo DNA. The aim of the game was to make Gyarados look even cooler. while also improving its incredibly weak evolution Magikarp. Instead of which, this guy evolves from Slugmacarp, Project Fishstick. Are these two any better? Granted, it doesn't really need water to survive anymore. However, being in colder environments for too long puts it at risk of hardening and turning to stone. Magmados doesn't fare much better. It has trouble keeping itself upright due to its slimy body, and its jaws are pathetically weak. But all the same, you shouldn't underestimate this Pokemon. It's still hot to the touch. Despite lacking the power of one of its predecessors, it makes up for it with a decent amount of bulk. The Alcemon will bombard you with Stalactites that it will force from the ceiling, or shower you with Eruption. Dodging this Pokemon's attacks is key to find an opening. It'll even use Skull to blind your vision, making dodging its attacks even harder. Eventually though, once you get an opening and a few good hits, it should go down like all the rest. Now that Magmados has joined our side, we'll be able to ride upon its back. It will be able to carry us through this lava that it's made, and we'll be able to use its size to intimidate wild Pokemon, making them leave us alone. Just make sure not to let it out while you're traveling through the Dunkel Woods. Excellent work, player. That ought to keep him quiet. Well, at least we figured out where this lava came from. Indeed, but how did that Alcemon get down here to begin with? You don't think Professor Nicholas knew about this place, do you? It's possible, but personally... No, he didn't. This was just another situation that has gotten out of his control. As if he even was in control. I swear, these Pokemon businessmen are always the same. They think they can just get away with anything, that they could just control Pokemon or shape them to their liking. But they're blind to the truth. Speaking from experience, I assume that you were, considering you knew Charmin Rose. You boys aren't gonna drop that, are you? Oh, I'm sorry, Mom. I didn't mean it like... No. It's fine. You know what? If you two want to know the truth, then fine. I might as well just let it out so you don't ask me again. After all, the less I think about my father, the better. Oh, alright, wait. Father? Rose is your father? What? I didn't even know he had a wife. Ex-wife, actually. Oh, sorry to hear about that. No, it's fine. At least you are sorry. It's more than I can say about him. That crankcase may have looked like he cared on the outside, but he only cared about those that were in his business. His protege, his step-protege, and assuring that Galar had a safe and secure future. And that's about it. He didn't really bother to find the time for us. And let's just say things weren't better once his plans were revealed. I already had enough trouble as it was getting into iPad, and I was only able to get this far thanks to Luker. But hey, I've buried all that stuff behind me a long time ago. I don't know how my father's doing in prison, and quite frankly, I don't care. He's dead to me. Can we move aside now? I know how you feel. Pardon? I said I know how you feel. My father isn't really the best either. His name is Aberdeen, and he's the champion of the Cryoto region's Double C. He's been around the world a few times, and let's just say I'm not the only child he's had. He's been around the block a few times. He usually spends most of his time exploring. He hardly ever visits me, or any of his other children for that matter. I've often been compared to him as well. It was really hard to deal with, but after a while I learned I don't have to be defied by him. I can follow my own path, you know? Just because you're related to Mr. Rose doesn't mean your fate has to be determined by his. Kid, look, I appreciate the sympathy, but I've already figured that out a long time ago. Like I said, I managed to get here, didn't I? All the same, if you ever want to talk about it, just let me know. I understand. Thanks, kid. Just please don't mention this to anyone, I've already heard enough of it. And that goes for you too, player, because if you do, I'll make sure to add snitch to your record. Is this the place, kid? It looks pretty ancient to me. Oh, yes it is. Thank goodness that Alcremon didn't damage this place. Alright, let's see if it's... Okay, it's still here. Sarah, player, please, take a seat. Because I'm about to share with you the story of the Pokemon that rose from the ashes.